So my suggestion would be that you bring it up on notice, giving members sufficient time to look into the issues, and so that we can have a robust debate on this particular matter. That's my suggestion. I don't know if you agree with that, or you'd just rather go ahead and take your motion and we'll just treat it like any other. We won't give it the seriousness it deserves.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. There's only one reason why I decided to bring it up as a matter of urgent public importance, and it is because of the protest that happened last week Friday at a court about a gentleman called Idris Ebiloma who raped a 4-year-old kid, and he said he's been in the process of to be released from the prison. And I know this protest was on last week Friday, and that's why I decided that I should bring it up as a matter of urgent public importance.
What's your prayer?
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, my prayer is to treat the matter as urgent public importance, and also to suspend our rules in order for the matter to be...
Okay, that's not your prayer, that's your motion. What are you asking at the end of your motion? What are you asking the House to resolve or to do? That's what I am trying to get to.
Honorable Pella, be guided by the wise counsel and wisdom of Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yeah, my prayer, what I want is for this honorable House to mandate the Minister of Justice and Nigerian Police to ensure justice be upheld and Idris Ebiloma be made to serve the full sentence prescribed for the heinous crime he committed, and also to urge state government to maintain sexual offences registered in all states of Federal Republic of Nigeria.
I honestly still believe that it's a very serious matter. It's not about one person. It's not about that incident. It should be about the general, the issue of rape and sexual assault, which we come across every single day. And I think we should give it the seriousness it deserves and bring it on notice, maybe Tuesday or Wednesday, if you don't mind.
Mr. Speaker, I agree with that, sir.
Thank you. Motion step down. Honourable members, the business of the day, first business of the day is presentation of 30 bills. And I invite the clerk to read their short title.
Honourable Speaker, honourable members, Federal Capital Territory of Area Council Bill 2019, first reading. Land Variety Protection PVP Bill 2019, first reading. Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria repealing and enactment Bill 2019, first reading. Veterinary Surgeons Act repealing and enactment Bill 2019, first reading. Nigerian Cooperative Societies Act Amendment Bill 2019, first reading. National School Reserve Agency Establishment Bill, etc. Bill 2019, first reading. Federal Capital Territory Emergency Management Agency Establishment Bill 2019, first reading. First Test etc. Compulsory Education Act Amendment Bill 2019, first reading. PS Act Amendment Bill 2019, first reading. Currency Offences Act Amendment Bill 2019, first reading. Federal University Omoku Establishment Bill 2019, first reading. Farmware Development Bill 2019, first reading. Agricultural Control Importation Act Amendment Bill 2019, first reading. Trade Unions Act Amendment Bill 2019, first reading. National Universities Commission Act Repeal and Enactment Bill 2019, first reading. Jury Bill 2019, first reading. Fire and Rescue Service Bill 2019, first reading. Nigerian Educational Research and Development Council Act Amendment B 2019 first reading. Environmental Impact Assessment B 2019 first reading. Food Safety and Quality B 2019 first reading. Nigerian Minerals and Mining B 2019 first reading. Institute of Mortgage Brokers and Lenders Assessment B 2019 first reading. Deep Offshore and Inland Basin Production Sharing Contracts Act Amendment B 2019 first reading. Nigerian Police Academy Assessment B 2019 first reading. Arbitration and Conciliation Act Repeal and Enactment B 2019 first reading. National Center for Agricultural Mechanization Act Amendment B 2019 first reading. National Mathematical Center Act Amendment B 2019 first reading. Estate Surveyors and Valuers Registration Etc. Act Amendment B 2019 first reading. Public Servants Foreign Education Prohibition B 2019 first reading. Trade and Practices Act Amendment B 2019 first reading.
Honorable colleagues, the first order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principles of a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of a National Commission against the proliferation of small arms and light weapons in coordinate and implement activities to combat the problem of the proliferation of small arms and light weapons in Nigeria, in line with the Economic Community of West African States Convention on Small Arms and Light Weapons, and for related matters, standing in the name of Honorable Mohammed Tahir Mongunu. Honorable members will recall that the bill was read in the first time on Wednesday, 3rd July 2019, and I invite Honorable Mongunu to move that the bill be now read a second time.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, my name is Mohammed Tahir Mongunu. I represent Marte Mongunu, Ganza Federal Constituency of Borno State. I hereby move that a bill for an act to provide for establishment of National Commission against the proliferation of small arms and light weapons to coordinate and implement activities to combat the problem of the proliferation of small arms and light weapons in Nigeria in line with the Economic Community of West African States Convention on Small Arms and Light Weapons, and for related matters, House Bill 10, be read the second time. I so move.
Any seconder, please. Deputy Whip.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am Kiru Gauye George. I represent the good people of the Federal Constituency and from Abia State. I rise to second the motion as moved by the Chief Whip. I take second.
Honorable Mongunu, please lead the debate.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, once again I remain Mohammed Tahir Mongunu. I represent Marte Mongunu, Ganzai Federal Constituency of Borno State. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, it is a well-known fact beyond any dispute that the primary responsibility of governance is the provision of the welfare and security of the citizens. And any government that fails and or neglects to perform that primary duty of providing for the security and welfare of the citizens, that government ab initio is not supposed to exist. So, and it is also beyond dispute that there is proliferation of small arms and light weapons in the hands of non-state actors across the length and breadth of this country, thereby exacerbating the problem of insecurity that has threatened to consume the corporate existence of this country. to the extent that some people are bold enough to excise some parts of Nigeria and declare a caliphate because they are in possession of these small arms and light weapons that they can afford to engage our armed forces in defense of the territorial integrity of this country. And also, the avalanche of armed banditry, herdsmen, farmers clashes, Boko Haram insurgency, and even the problem of the Shiite sect that is beginning to rear its ugly head in our body polity can all be traced to the fact that non-state actors are in possession of these small arms and light weapons. And for government to discharge that primary responsibility of providing for the security and welfare of its citizens, there is need to have a body corporate that can not only back but can fight in the discharge of its duties in the moving of sensitization and moving of these light weapons and small arms from the hands of non-state actors so that collectively we can sleep with our two eyes closed. And it was against this backdrop that this House, being a chamber that is representative of the will of the Nigerian people, is supposed to make legislations that are in consonance with the wishes and aspirations of the people. It was against this backdrop that I am inviting these hallowed chambers to legislate or pass for second reading the establishment of this commission so that this commission will be legally saddled with responsibility of not only moving off these light weapons and small arms from non-state actors, but also sensitization on the dangers of allowing these small arms to be in the hands of non-state actors. And even go forward to give reward for people that on their own volition, so motu, can surrender these small arms and light weapons to the state so that these dangerous weapons cannot be in the hands of state actors. So instead of approaching it in an ad hoc manner, in a stopgap manner, like the Zamfara state government the other day is bringing out some amount of money to give as reward for people that are ready to surrender their arms, Dito Borno state government, Dito Katsina state government. So there is need to institute a commission with a legal framework that will be saddled with the mandate to discharge this function so that these small arms and light weapons can be mopped up. And once we do that, it is also in consonance with ECOWAS convention that urges all West African member states of the economic community to put legal frameworks or institutions that will be saddled with the responsibility of moving off these small arms from non-state actors. So against this backdrop, I am inviting my colleagues to support the second reading of this bill, to borrow the word of my friend, Honorable Osai Osai, with the speech of light. Thank you.
Point of order.
Mr. Speaker,
distinguished colleagues, my name is Honorable Valentine Aika, member representing Njikoka, Lulukobia, and Ocha Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Anambra State. Mr. Speaker, I'm coming under Order 8 through 5, personal explanation. Mr. Speaker,
We passed the stage of personal explanation. Come under another order.
Mr. Speaker, with your large heart and the kind way you have treated new members, I will need assistance, but what I wanted to say exactly is, I expected that this law, as is contained, is to be made in compliance or in line with ECOWAS treaty. I'm saying, wouldn't it be wise if we could be availed of this ECOWAS treaty to be sure what are the contents? And I believe we should have similar things in the Police Act.
I think Honorable Mongono is waiving the gazette to you that has been circulated. Okay, borrow it from your neighbor, out of order. Honorable Nkiruka. Everybody has it. Maybe you don't have. Check your box. Check your box. Check your boxes. Everybody has a box. Check your box.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am Kiruka George. I represent the good people of Isukwatu Federal Constituency. I am from Abia State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I rise to support the second reading of this all-important bill because of this reason. One simple reason is this. Everybody agrees that there are arms, small, big ones, all sizes, in the hands of people that are not supposed to hold these arms. Everybody agrees that even during 8th Assembly, we had motions, we had bills on these particular issues. And all of us agree that on a daily basis, we are being confronted with issues of kidnapping, robbery, assassination, and all sorts. And everybody is asking one simple question. When will this thing stop? What are the solutions to this problem? We already know that these are issues and problems that we have. And my colleague, the chief whip, is trying to provide solution. And the solution is to have a commission that will be domiciled with this issue of making sure that there are no arms in the hands of people who are not supposed to hold these arms. Police have tried a few months ago to say they are recovering arms from individuals and communities. And people cry, how? How do you even know who is holding what? Police try to do that because they know this is the best thing to do. You must get out these arms from individuals that are not licensed to have these arms. Even people who are licensed and are using it in different forms. And so we are here today. The solution is that, honorable colleagues, we need this commission like yesterday. Because arms must leave people's hands. We must have a commission that will collect all these arms so that we have where we go to, where we have issues. Because you're trying to solve issues and you're not, it's so overwhelming. Today, you provide this solution, another in the afternoon, another thing tomorrow, and all that and all that. Let us have a one-stop shop that if anything happens, we go here. If we see people with arms, we know where it's coming from. We've seen, I moved a motion here a few years ago about some containers of arms that was imported into the country, and the custom tried to seize it, and they said they don't know who is bringing it and all that. That investigation was done, and of course, you know what came out of it. So the best way to stop this is to have a commission that their duty will be to mop up all these arms, to begin to look at issues and the people who are supposed to have arms and the people who are holding these arms, what are using it for. I think when we do this, it will help the security agencies because they are overwhelmed. Let us not pretend about this. They want to stop this, but how do they stop it? They are overwhelmed. Every time we are calling them for one intervention or the other, and yet they can't do it alone. So this commission, if you look at the body of this bill, you see how the commission will form. The civil society will be involved, the parliament will be involved, the retired generals will be involved, all the people who are professional will be involved. And if we do this, then before time, I'm sure that we'll have solution to what we don't have any means of solving today. I so submit.
My friend and brother, Honorable Bago.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, I remain Mohammed Morubago. I represent the people of Chenchaga Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I'm from Niger State. Mr. Speaker, I am standing to talk in respect of this bill, of proposed bill on how to establish a national commission against proliferation of small arms. Mr. Speaker, how long can we continue to create agencies and commissions? It's a police work. And I think as a parliament of the people, as a parliament of Nigeria, we should see to how we reduce the cost of governance. So I'm not in support of creating more commissions to handle things that should naturally be handled by the police. The treaty of the AU or ECOWAS that should be domesticated must not necessarily be through a commission. It should be done properly through the police. So, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, this is my humble submission to say I'm not in support of creation of any commission, but I'm in support of the body of the bill for the proliferation of arms and weapons in the country. Thank you.
Honorable Muslim Anguru.
Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues, I am from Kano State, and my name is Comrade Aminu Suleiman. I represent Pagi Federal Constituency. For a very long time, I have not been able to agree with Honorable Bago, but it appears, looking critically at this bill, I may be persuaded to agree with him. Honorable Mongono has brought a very, very critical and important bill, which for me is timely. But my worry, Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues, is that in addressing the issue of proliferations of small arms, we may be encouraging the proliferation of more commissions. So we needed to be a bit careful. As important as the bill is, as critical as the matter under discussion is, it is my belief that it has been the work of the police to address this issue. If there are challenges and shortcomings, I think as members of the parliament, we owe Nigerians a duty to ask questions and to ask police what is or are responsible for the shortcoming. Perhaps the police is saturated. We can sit with them and see, address the issue of manpower, address the issue of capacity, and probably motivation. but to continue to create a commission which may take a year and the issue require immediate attention, and after taking a year to establish the commission, to select the workforce, to train them, to provide appropriation, and of course that means we'll continue to sit at length with this issue. I support that the bill should go for second reading, within which opportunity could be provided for professional and stakeholders in the country to sit together and offer more advices that will be productive and supportive of the bill. And so I support that it should go for second reading, but mindful of the fact that we should not contemplate issue of more commissions in the country. Thank you.
The honorable colleagues, let's begin to follow the normal tradition of taking those who will speak for, and then later on we'll come to those who will speak against. So those who want to speak for, we'll take that now. Honorable Deputy. I'm sorry? No, I just want us to be a little bit more organized. I agree with you. Let's take those who are for, and then we'll take those who are against. Honorable Deputy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, Honorable Michelle is my name. I represent the good people of Surulere Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I can recall vividly that we have been working on this kind of motions. I remember in the 7th Assembly, I'm the one who sponsored this motion. In the 8th Assembly, the motion was moved by Honorable Inlana. And later, after a lot of deliberation, I think there's a reason for us to come up with a bill for the creation of this commission. Mr. Speaker, if you look at what is really happening all over the nation, most of the attacks in this nation, the key weapon to this attack is gun ammunition all over the land, everywhere. And so far so good what we have been able to achieve is to make a resolution that the police look out and be able to collect all these illegal guns across the nation. But we are unable to achieve, we are unable to achieve very few. Because after said and done, you will still see a lot of illegal ammunition and guns everywhere. But Mr. Speaker, I want to align myself with the provisions of this bill. If we can go by commission, we have a body shadowed with this responsibility to handle this matter, and we have been able to have a body to call upon if there's any issue on this matter. Mr. Speaker, to save this nation, to save the masses of this nation who cannot afford to pick gun on their hand, to go on illegal ways of getting these ammunition across the land. It is better for us to go ahead and pass this bill so that we can save a lot of innocent Nigerian citizens. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I so submit.
Honorable Namdas.
Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues, my name is Abdrazak Namdas. I represent the people of Ganye, Jada, Tongoma, Evalua. I am from Adamawa State. Mr. Speaker, I want to speak in support of this all-important day. Mr. Speaker, I want to say on record that because of the challenge that the police have been having, if the police have been very effective, I'm sure this issue of illegal light weapons wouldn't have been a problem. But because the police have been overwhelmed, every day, Mr. Speaker, if you watch the television, you see the police displaying weapons recovered from non-state actors, and that have been causing so many harm. Bandits have been access to it and making lives miserable for people. Mr. Speaker, I want to say, once the commission is in place, that commission, according to Mongono, he stated that the commission is expected to take the necessary measures to ensure safe and effective management, storage, and security of national stocks of small arms and light weapons. Once the commissioner will have that stock, and he went further to say that the public should be sensitized on the need for people to hand over. Mr. Speaker, recently I read in the paper the former governor of Ogun State surrendered so many weapons to the state. And if we can have people surrender, it should be surrendered to a commission. They should keep register of the weapons that have been collected from people. And once the register is there, it should be made known to the entire ECOWAS states, so that each state that wants to have access or information on particular weapons that have been recovered from non-state actors, they can know the specific weapons that are there. And it will even allow security agencies to plan, because some of these weapons are so sophisticated that even the security agencies, some of them do not even have access, do not even have some of these weapons. And if they see the kind of weapons they've recovered, they will be able to plan and know how to also be able to regulate and counter-attack the people that have access to these particular weapons. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to say that I want to support that this bill, my colleagues should support it. We should have a commission. I know the fear of cost, but we should understand that which one is better. The fear of cost that the state will fear, and the safety of the people, which one comes first? For me, if the cost will be there and Nigerians will be safe, it is better for us to bear the cost and be safe than to fear that we should not spend money and continue to stay in fear. I think that is my own opinion. It's good to have the commission. I so support, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Koko.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. My respected colleagues, I remain Chiu Koko. I represent Koko, Besem, and Mayama Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Kebbi State. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise to strongly support this bill because of two reasons. One, I was a retired police officer. I retired just last year, May 30th, to contest. Exactly. And I served for good 14 years in the Nigerian Police Force. I was opportune to be a member of Presidential Task Force on the proliferation of small arms and light weapons. Mr. Speaker, if I'm to tell you, I worked with the former IG of Okiro, who was heading the Presidential Task Force, and the membership was drawn from the military, the custom, the immigration, and many other services. Mr. Speaker, we worked for 6 months, and we worked between Jigawa, Katsina, Zamfara, Sokoto, KB, and Niger. We recovered 5,206 small arms and light from the citizens. What suffered from the work, Mr. Speaker, is funds, finances, logistics. I could remember the former governor of Katsina State was the only governor that gave us a vehicle and 2 million naira then to do the work. We were commissioned, we were sworn in to do the work, but the problem of finances to do the work. Mr. Speaker, my respected colleagues, this bill is very, very important to all of us. As Nigerians, we have to support this bill so that the number of arms, it's only God knows the number of arms that are circulating, going around in this country, more especially along the border and the coast area of this country. My colleagues, please support this motion, support this bill, so that we can have peace. We can have a very strong commission and well-funded. And Mr. Speaker, if we are to get the leadership, either the DG, whatever we want to call it, Mr. Speaker, please, I want to recommend that we should have an experienced security personnel to head this, the commission. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I want to speak at this point.
Thank you, Honorable Gogo. Honorable Gagdi.
I represent Panshin Kanke Kanam. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Plateau State. Mr. Speaker, in aligning with my brother, my friend, and in supporting in totality the positions of these bills as put together by the Chief Whip of this Honorable House, I want to talk based on a little experience being a representative of Panshinkanke Kanam in Plateau State. Yes, Mr. Speaker, from the little experience I have had, so that my colleagues will understand the importance of this proposed bill. I chair a special committee on peace and security in Plateau from 2015 to 2016. Mr. Speaker, if you know the extent of purification of locally made arms and ammunition and their attendant implication to the security of lives and properties of the citizens of Nigeria, the importance of establishing a commission to look into these issues will not be overemphasized. Mr. Speaker, some of the damages that these locally made weapons are doing in times of taking lives of the citizens, they are more dangerous than the danger of AK-47. Mr. Speaker, in considering these bills, I would want whatever this Honorable House will do to consider the activities of the local blacksmiths. They produce weapons, they are not certified to produce those weapons, but you will see them operating in each and every state of Nigerian Federation, and they give these weapons to people to take the lives of the fellow citizens. Mr. Speaker, most of the damages that are done, perhaps, if not recently because of the activities of the banditry, they are done by locally produced arms and ammunition. I don't want to belittle the commitment of the police, Mr. Speaker, but in times of anything that is to protect the lives and properties of the citizen, you don't count cost, Mr. Speaker, you count result. You look at what will be the resultant effect of any effort that is going to be if it's going to be implemented. In times of protecting the life of the citizen, Mr. Speaker, I repeat myself, cost is not important, but how effective this bill is in times of protecting the lives and properties of the citizen. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, no matter the cost implication of establishing commission, if in one way or the other, the responsibility of the commission is going a long way in complementing the commitments of the Nigerian police force, I support in totality the establishment of commission that will be responsible for checkmating both the production and the purification of locally made arms and ammunition. Mr. Speaker, one of the contributions someone said, which is very important, is how you move up those arms, particularly by our security agents, be it police, be it the army, be it the SSS and what have you. Some of the problems that we envisage, particularly where I serve, was the situation where government will ask citizens to surrender arms and ammunition. And at the end of the day, you will see those security agents advertising the people that are surrendering those arms and ammunition in the name of telling Nigerians that they are working. If you have a bad person that is willing to reform and surrender its weapon, and tomorrow you display him in the screen of TV and pages of newspaper, you are telling the other person that wants to surrender its weapon not to do so. So, Mr. Speaker, some of these aspects should all equally be considered so that at the end of the day, we will make a good commitment like the Chief Whip have initiated, that in the long run and short run, it will support the commitments of security agents in Nigeria. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, as usual, for giving me the opportunity to speak. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Well said. Honorable, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ahmed Jahababao is my name, Chibok Dambua Goza of Borno State is where I represent. Mr. Speaker, let me comment particularly the sponsor of this bill that is timely and is relevant to what is happening today in our society. Mr. Speaker, you can agree with me, and other honorable members can equally agree, that just yesterday, National Population Commission released the estimated figure of Nigeria's population to be 190-something million people, almost 200 million people. That, in one way or the other, corroborate the prediction of population of Nigeria in 2030 to be 250 million people. And by 2050, Nigeria's population is going to be almost 400 million, and that can place Nigeria the third most populated country in the world. Mr. Speaker, we are asking police to do this work. Police is overstretched. In advanced countries of the world, particularly where you serve before you become a member, you realize that every 5 people, there is one policeman monitoring their do's and don'ts. In Nigeria, single policeman is monitoring more than 200 or 300 people. What is the population of Nigeria and what is the population of police in Nigeria? And another thing, the mover of the sponsor of the bill emphasized on reward for people that voluntarily submitted their weapons. I equally suggest that the issue of whistleblower, as is currently working in financial crimes and other related offenses, should be included. Let me give you an example, honorable members. In Maiduguri, there was a time when a small boy of maybe about 7 years approached a military man that is holding AK-47 and said, "Can I have that your weapon? Sorry, can I have that your thing?" Then the military man said, "What are you going to do with it?" He said, "My father has one in his house." This is by extension telling you a lot of people have weapons and they are not willing to submit. So if you bring up the issue of whistleblower, if I have a neighbor or my son or my younger brother realize that my neighbor is holding one, he can go to the police and say it, or he can go to the commission and say it. So reward should not only go to people that voluntarily submit or surrender, reward should equally go to whistleblowers that can reveal people that deliberately hide small arms and light weapons at their disposal. In addition to this, Mr. Speaker, we are all aware that financial crimes and other related offenses are purely the job of police. But EFCC and ICPC was created and they are yielding results, as we can see. So establishing a commission of this type can encourage funding, can encourage oversight function by legislators, so that if they are not doing their work, the whole world will hear us. But now you are overstretching the police institution. You ask them to do this, to guard this, to follow us. I can see some honorable members, policemen are following them. So how do you expect this thing to work? Since we have limited number of policemen and we have a lot to achieve in crime prevention. So Mr. Speaker, let there be this commission. I'm totally in support of it, so that at the end of the day we can have results. So I submit, sir. Thank you.
Honorable Plata, go ahead.
Mr. Speaker, sir, my honorable colleagues, Barakatuh. I am Honorable Gani Abubakar Bogo, member representing Shira and the Federal Constituency of Bauchi State. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise to align myself or rather to support the bill ably sponsored by my chief and the chief whip of this honorable house. Mr. Speaker, sir, I ought to say that this bill has come at the right time. Mr. Speaker, sir, honorable colleagues, I must emphasize that the primary responsibility of any responsible government is the security and welfare of its citizens. And you will all believe with me that the topmost problem of today's Nigeria is insecurity. Insecurity in so many forms, such as armed robbery, kidnapping, and so many other vices. And this trend continues to happen because those who are not supposed to possess weapons have them in their custody. You will all believe with me that a 15-year-old who has a local gun can put the whole of this chamber to a halt. Mr. Speaker, sir, honorable colleagues, I agreed that to curtail the proliferation of small arms is the job of the police authority. But what if the police fail to curtail the proliferation of these small arms? I am of the opinion that another option has to be tried. Mr. Speaker, sir, let me use this opportunity to borrow the word of Captain Bambuli in his book, The Five Majors, who says that, and to say that curtailing the proliferation of small arms is like a surgical operation which must be performed on a patient or you let the patient die. And it is my belief and the belief of this honorable house that we will not let Nigerians to continue dying. In view of the above, I strongly support the bill in totality. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable, go ahead. No, Honorable Umeoji first, then after Honorable Umeoji.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I remain Honorable Chukwu Mamoji, representing the good people of Agwata Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, thank you for another opportunity. And the bill, as presented by the honorable member, we have to, first of all, ask questions. Why is it necessary for this commission to be established? There is a direct indictment that other security apparatus and establishments are not living up to expectation. And we have to really ask questions. If you establish this commission, is it going to still different? Are they going to perform differently from what the other people are doing? Are we not going to have Nigerians still in charge of their commission? I think, Mr. Speaker, the truth is that we have enough organs and agencies, but that there is no political will to enforce the law. Once we live in a society where somebody can move from Mali and Libya with AK-47 and land in Ibadan, Enugu and Anambra State without being arrested, it's a problem. And then if a man comes with 10 guns from the bush of Ogun State, he will be arrested and be prosecuted. So if we don't have the political will, establish 10, 20 commissions, we will still be having the same challenge. The truth of the matter is that as Nigerians, we have to tell ourselves the truth. So until we come to realization that we need to protect this nation, that we have no other country to go to, until there is the same law for Mr. A, Mr. B, and Mr. C, establish 20 commissions, nothing will change. So my own suggestion is that I support the establishment of that commission and further commissions as people may deem necessary. But my only remark is that when there is no political will, nothing will ever work to stop the proliferation of arms. I so submit, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, my name is Akin Alabi. I'm representing the people of Egbedona Federal Constituency. I am from Oyo State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, there is no doubt in the noble intentions of this bill. We know there's a proliferation of arms all over the country. Armed robbers easily getting armed, vigilante organizations, terrorist organizations easily getting armed. Well, my problem is what is stated in...
Honorable Raji, please approach it. Go ahead.
My own concern is what we have in the Nigerian Police Act as well as the Armed Forces Act. The Nigerian Police Act, Part 8, number 46, it charges the Nigerian police with the prevention and detection of crime and the apprehension of offenders. Proliferation of arms is a crime. So that naturally is covered by the police. Then, apart from the Nigerian Police Act, which you've all talked about, what about the Armed Forces Act? Part 1, number 3, says the armed forces shall be charged with the defense of the Federal Republic of Nigeria by land, by sea, and by air, and other duties prescribed by the National Assembly by motion or by act. This means anyone that's trying to bring in arms illegally, this can come under the purview of the military because we don't know what they want to use it for. It could be for a terror act. And when it's for a terror act, we know the military can be called into play. So my suggestion will be for the Nigerian police to create a section within the Nigerian police force to combat this. The way we have the special anti-robbery squad, the way we have the anti-kidnapping squad, the way we have even something as trivial as the anti-one-way squad. We have it in some states. So something can be created within the Nigerian police force to tackle the proliferation of arms and life weapons. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Plata. What's your point of order? Point of order.
Mr. Speaker, my name is Ademorin Kuye. I represent the people of Shomolu Federal Constituency of Lagos State. Mr. Speaker, my point of order is based on provisions and enabling acts, extant law, in the laws of the Federation. Mr. Speaker, that Section 10
of the Firearms Act clearly provides that no individual shall possess firearms without authority, without a license by the police. That is the prohibition of firearms and the acquisition and the smuggling and what have you. Under Section 4, sir, of the Police Act, the police are empowered to carry out investigation, detect, arrest, and prevent crime. Under the Criminal Code, sir, the definition of firearms even extends beyond the ordinary firearms that we talk about, particularly when you look at Section 402 of the Criminal Code Act, up to 208, that talks about armed robbery. It says that if you use any weapon that is capable of creating an apprehension of fear in the mind of the victim, then you have committed that offense of armed robbery. Now, when you take all of these laws together, and you look at what this commission is trying to do, you see a duplication of all of these acts. Mr. Speaker, sir, if you look at the second...
So, what I want to know is whether you are contributing to the debate against, which we'll come to later, or you are raising a point of order. If you are raising a point of order, you've cited several sections of the law, which I would have thought would come during your debate. Sometimes we raise we cite constitutional order or sections of the law sometimes. But if you look at your rules, Order 9, I believe Rule 2. If you look at your rules, Order 9, Rule 2, a point of order really should pertain to the rules when somebody is going out of... can you read it? Read Order 9, Rule 2. No, let me read it. Let me read it for you. It's Order 9, Rule 2. It's on page 40. It says, any member deviating from the provision of these rules or the Constitution may be immediately called to order by the Speaker or the Chairman or by a member raising a point of order. A member rising to a point of order shall simply direct attention to the point he desires to make. So the point I'm trying to make is, if you read again, any member deviating from the provisions of these rules. So you see, it is only when you are deviating from the rules, not from another statute. You are deviating from the rules or the Constitution. So you can raise a constitutional point of order, or you can raise a point of order when somebody is going against these rules. If you have a point of order or a section of another law that may be in conflict, then we can bring that up during debate. Do you get my point? If we raise that as a point of order, that section whatever of the Firearms Act or section whatever of the Police Act, then that's not a legitimate point of order under our rules. That is referring to another section. That comes up during a debate when you're speaking against. You get my point? Out of order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, my name is Obakar Samfulata. I represent Brunila, Krikasama, Gudi Federal Constituency of Tigawa State. Mr. Speaker, the issue of the proliferation of arms and light weapons goes beyond Nigeria, goes beyond the borders of Nigeria. It involves non-state actors such as arms and ammunition manufacturers from Europe, especially Eastern Europe, and then non-state actors mostly comprises of mercenaries, stateless individuals whose primary preoccupation is war. They look for war. Wherever there is war, they go there. If there is no war in Nigeria, they will locate to Burkina Faso. If there is no war in Burkina Faso, they will locate to Niger. If there is none in Niger, they will locate to Chad. These are mercenaries whose profession is just fighting war. And then they are organically linked with manufacturers of these arms and ammunition for market. So, Mr. Speaker, this is a criminal gang, a syndicate that goes beyond Nigeria. So the creation of such an outfit to comprehensively address this issue is most welcome, because you cannot localize it. You have to look at it from a broader perspective, beyond ECOWAS, beyond African Union, beyond the continent of Africa. So, Mr. Speaker, I support the creation of this commission to comprehensively address this issue. Thank you very much.
Honorable Osai.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues. I remain Honorable Osai Nicholas Osai. I represent the Pawapani Federal Constituency of Delta State. And to actually align with Mr. Speaker on issues of the rules, and equally borrow and issues that when during debate we complement, it does not follow suit. If you look at Order 9, Rule 13, sub 2 of it, is aligned with Mr. Speaker, guidance. And I believe that that's why we say the most experienced speaker we have got. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In laying that, I want to adopt the submission of those who have spoken in favor of this bill. Align with them because they show direction. They show the love they have for the country. It also shows their contribution is in line with Section 12 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and also in line with our rules, through which every protocol or treaties can come in form of a bill, which this one is showing direction. Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues, for those who say that protocols ought to have been domesticated, you domesticate it through a bill. Sometimes there are two ways. So I'm in line with Honorable Monguru for this bill. Mr. Speaker, when you look at the composition of the bill, it clearly aligns with the man who raised issues of the Police Act. Police are included. It's also in line with the issues of the EFCC that are dealing on issues on some aspect of the functions of the police today. Mr. Speaker, you are part of the people who enacted EFCC. And you used item 67 of the concurrent list in enacting that law. Mr. Speaker, going from these issues and going from history where you are coming from, as one of the most experienced this assembly has ever produced. Mr. Speaker, when you looked at the functions of the commission is in line with mopping up completely of all arms and ammunition within the country. Now, when you look, if you also look at Ministry of Internal Affairs, or even Control Police, is also a member. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, chairman of that commission, because it involves West Africa. It has to do with issues of mopping up completely within the West African region. Mr. Speaker, our president, Mr. Integrity, have just signed a treaty on issues of trade in Africa. Mr. Speaker, it then means that a lot of people are going to come into this country through that means. And in coming to this country, the security of our country must be paramount and very strategic. That's why the Peace Commission is very, very important and timely. Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues, this commission, by the functions as proposed, 1, establishing programs of action to prevent, combat, eradicate illicit trade in small arms and light weapons. That's one of the cardinal points of this commission. Now, there are strategies to mop up in different groups, different actors who are not state actors carrying arms to be mopped up with. And like what the mover of this bill says, he said the cardinal point, which is in section 4 and 14 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, is protection of life of our citizens. You cannot protect life. It is only when you protect life and secure them that you can be able to empower them shelter-wise. Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues, I believe that this bill, like what Honorable Mongu said, should pass with the speed of light like they require, should be so. And I urge all of you, as I've already urged myself, to support this bill with the speed of light. I still submit.
Honorable Sada.
Mr. Speaker, my name is Honorable Sada Soli Jibia, representing Jibia Kaita Federal Constituency from Katsina State. Mr. Speaker, it's about time we do something with regards to proliferation of small arms and light weapons. I would rather say large arms, huge weapons. Because what we have in this country is beyond small arms and light weapons. Mr. Speaker, no one is in doubt in this country that we don't have the availability, I don't want to use the word proliferation, the availability of weapons and arms in this country. I don't want to be diplomatic. Mr. Speaker, one of the objectives of ECOWAS with regards to combating this menace is the mechanism for conflict prevention, for management, resolution, peacekeeping, and security. So it is timely we have something like this. I know within the government cycle, there is a small outfit that is in charge of this. I could remember attending a series of meetings at ECOWAS Secretariat, which is headed by highly qualified people that are very knowledgeable in the proliferation of small arms and light weapons. But we need to strengthen the policy, the approach, so that effectively we can holistically arrange, organize an agency that will look at these things in line with the protocol of the ECOWAS Treaty in combating proliferation of these small arms and light weapons. So it is timely, we should have this, we should open our mind, we should be futuristic. This country from the NPC.
It is that this goes beyond proliferation of small arms or tiny arms. It's not about the size of the arms. It's about the arms itself. So perhaps the title or the short title of the bill, when it goes to committee, or the definition section of weapon should be changed to proliferation of arms, period. That's the point you are making. Committee, please take note, whoever is in that committee. Honorable Jaga.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, my honorable colleagues. I am Honorable Mohammed Umar Jeka, representing Ali Rukundu, Jega Federal Constituency. I am from Kebbi State. Honorable Speaker, I tend to concur with all those who have spoken in favor of this bill. The security challenges we are experiencing today is to do with proliferation of small and light arms in the hands of many Nigerians. This proliferation is as a result of the armed conflicts in the Central African Democratic Republic of Congo and the Libyan Republic, People's Republic of Libya. This has given rise to the proliferation of all these arms with hands of many non-state actors. Establishing a commission to handle and combat the proliferation of these arms is timely and is important because Nigeria is the most populous country in Black Africa, and if nothing is done to curtail this, then we cannot. The issue of security and well-being of citizens can never be established. It is therefore timely, it is important, we should support this commission to ensure that the country is safe so that development and progress can take place in the country. I support the second reading of this bill and I call my colleagues to support this. I so submit. Thank you.
Honorable Raji.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Wali Raji. I represent a federal constituency of Lagos State. I stand to contribute in support of the bill sponsored by Honorable Mongunu. Much has been said by earlier contributors to this debate to justify the establishment of the commission to combat the proliferation of arms, as the speaker rightly corrected. There is no doubt that our country is in a serious crisis today, arising from free access by people to arms and ammunition in this country. And a lot of havoc have been done to individuals who have lost lives and property as a result of the activities of those illegally possessing firearms in this country. Just about two days ago, we had an experience here in this parliament when the premises of the National Assembly was invaded by people who who are in possession of firearms, and some people were injured in that incident. So I am totally in support. There is justification for the establishment of this commission. And for those who have raised the concern over the the proliferation of agencies of government, I think we should cast our mind to the present cost of controlling illegal possession of firearms in this country. And establishing this commission will promote specialization in the management of possession, of acquisition, and the use of firearms in this country. I would advise that we should be penny wise. We should not be penny wise, pound foolish in this country. We have seen experience of some other similar organizations established, like EFCC, for instance, which use the functions of EFCC, presently performed by EFCC, were either performed by the Nigerian police, but we have seen the efficiency that has been brought into the management of financial crime in this country. And I believe the same can be replicated if we have this commission. It will promote specialization and efficiency in the management of acquisition and use of firearms in this country. I therefore urge my colleagues to support this bill so that we can have this commission in the interest of the country. Thank you.
Honorable Jafar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleague. I remain Jafar Muhammad, member representing Borgo Abara Federal Constituency, Niger State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support the motion that brought the idea of wiping the arms in our various societies, particularly we that came from the border side of the country. In Niger State, we have one of the border called Babana. It's a border that we had so many experience regarding to movement of arms into Nigeria. Mr. Speaker, if you see the border, definitely you will see so many paramilitaries, custom, immigration, civil defense, so and so on. But all this does not stop inflows of arms in Nigeria. Simply because of that, I am stand to support the motion heavily moved by our senior colleague, Honorable Mugunu, in terms of wiping the arms in our dear country. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Aliu.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir. My honorable colleagues, I am Ibrahim Al-Mustafa Aliu, member representing Borno Raba Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Sokoto State. First and foremost, Mr. Speaker, I want to commend the initiator and mover of this bill, and of course, align myself with all the previous submissions made by honorable colleagues on this all-important bill. I see it differently, Mr. Speaker. While maybe other members may have the opinion or maybe this bill will tend to duplicate some existing establishments we have. I think otherwise, because I know when you have a particular problem, you can come up with a solution to specifically deal with that problem. The issue of arms proliferations and other illegal smuggling of very dangerous weapons is of great concern, Mr. Speaker. But first and foremost, if this commission will be able to handle and manage our porous borders properly, Mr. Speaker, so be it. If you look at our demography or the geography of our beloved nation, you see we have a very long borders. In the northern part, the borders stretched from Kebbi up to Maiduguri. In the eastern fringes, you have the borders stretching from Borno up to Cross Rivers. And the western side, you have from Borgu up to Lagos. These borders are virtually unmanned. Who are those responsible? You may say the Nigerian custom, you may say the Nigerian police, you may say the immigration. But I think there is no specific or defined role. So if this commission is intended to give a definitive schedule for the ability to man those borders properly so that those arms cannot be smuggled, be it. And secondly, I think, Mr. Speaker, at this material time, we have to start thinking of how we can be able to secure those borders. I had the opportunity of visiting some of those countries that have security challenges like Israel, and I have seen how they have taken definitive stance on securing their borders. Their borders are very porous. You can load your camels from Niger Republic and then you allow them, they walk down unmanned and they'll be able to reach their destinations carrying weapons. You'll be able to load your donkeys and they'll be able to move freely. You'll be able to even load your cows and they move freely with weapons unchecked. So if this commission is intended to achieve this, I am in total support of this bill. And secondly, I believe, Mr. Speaker, apart from that, we'll be able to have a database of those legally given.
Is to do things differently, because there's a saying, if you keep doing things the same way, the same time, you keep getting the same result all the time. The establishment of this commission will help to reduce instability. What do I mean? Insecurity in the country across the globe. We all know this is an eyesore. We know this. And to reduce this, we think if a commission is saddled with the responsibility of overseeing this, those that are in possession of arms. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I want to tell you there was an incident some time ago where two kids were in argument, and one went into the bedroom and brought out the gun or the pistol of the parent and shot the other one. It was found out that the parent was they were in illegal possession of the ammunition. So I want to align with this view that it should be passed on, and we should all support it for the safety of all. Especially, they should scrutinize when the committee will be set up at long run. We should scrutinize who will be in possession. Our local hunters, we all know this, our vigilantes. Since it is stated clearly, it should be stated clearly that if you will be in possession of any ammunition, whether the small one or the big one, you should have license to it, and it should be reviewed every now and then for the safety of all Nigerians. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to lend my voice to support this bill. Thank you, sir.
Honorable Makinde.
Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues, my name is Honorable Peter Abiola Makinde, representing the good people of Ondo East, Ondo West, Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I am from Ondo State. Permit me to lend my voice concerning this issue that this Honorable House is examining at this point in time. Honorable Munguno had raised a very vital bill, and I would like to support this bill to be read the second time. However, Mr. Speaker, permit me to reference the practice in the United States, especially for some of our colleagues that believe that Nigerian police should be in charge. I disagree with that, Mr. Speaker, because there is a particular department in the United States that actually deals with the issue of firearms. And I would like to lend my support, lend my voice to support this motion, this bill. But apart from the fact that there should be a commission that should be in this issue of proliferation of firearms, we must also suggest to those who will be in the committee that, especially the presenter of this bill, that there should be a way where the commission, this commission, should investigate those who are using this firearm. It's not only to mop up. You don't mop up only, but to investigate. Because if you mop up and we form a commission on that, it will be waste of our resources. They should mop up, at the same time investigate. The one in the United States, for example, they go after those who make use of these firearms. If there is any place in the United States where any firearm is used, they will investigate. That is different from the U.S. police. So therefore, I will lend my support, but however, I would like the presenter of this bill to amend it in a way that the commission should be staffed with some law enforcement officers that will investigate and not only just to mop up. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Zainab.
Right, Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues, I'm Zainab Limba from Borno State, representing Bama Ngala-Kalabalge Federal Constituency. I rise to support the motion to the bill put forward by Honorable M.T. Munguno. Right, Honorable Speaker, for those of us who are living in the border communities, you will agree with me that African borders are porous, and that allows the illicit trafficking of firearms into the country. Despite the fact that it has been one of the functions and duties of the police, the army, and the custom to look into this illicit trafficking of arms into the country, I believe, and you will agree with me, that their attention has been undivided over the years. And despite that undivided attention, all these forces have not achieved what is expected to be achieved towards stopping this illicit trafficking. And as a matter of that, I feel that we should support this motion to create this commission that will come
with a special training, special collaboration, and more training than the classical military or police training that we already have in the country. Well, I do agree that police and military and the custom are doing very well in trying to combat this issue, but it has been continuously degenerating from what we are expected to, the result we are expected to see. And this, I believe, for those of us, especially in Borno State, are one of the reasons that brought about this insurgency that we are still battling with. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, you will equally agree with me that this commission, if put in place, will equally collaborate with other African countries that are bordering Nigeria to ensure that these arms, small and, as Honorable Salo has said, arms in general, the proliferation of these arms and trafficking illegally into the country will be totally stopped. And further, in support, I would equally like to emphasize that the proliferation of these arms, especially in the northeastern part of the country, has impeded into the socio-economic development of our dear states. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I therefore stand to support the creation of this commission to further bring in a more robust and serious outfit that will eventually even be a source of identifying the root causes of the insurgency and other armed banditry and armed robbery and other issues we have in the country. I so submit.
Thank you, Honorable Zainab. Honorable Nasir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. My name is Nasir Ali Ahmed, and I represent Nasarawa Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Kano State. Mr. Speaker, it is no secret that the biggest threat that we have to the existence of this country, to the peace, unity, and even the economic progress of this country, Mr. Speaker, is the issue of insecurity. Mr. Speaker, the fuel or the driving force of this insecurity at the end of the day is the issue of arms and ammunition, Mr. Speaker. From terrorism, Mr. Speaker, in the northeast, from the banditry and kidnapping in the northwest, from armed robbery and militancy in the south, Mr. Speaker, it all boils down to access to weapons, Mr. Speaker. Now, Mr. Speaker, I strongly support the establishment of this commission for so many reasons, Mr. Speaker. Number one, even if you look at the composition, Mr. Speaker, of this commission, you will find out that from the Ministry of Internal Affairs, Ministry of Defense, Ministry of Justice, the State Security Service, the Nigerian Police Force, the Nigerian Customs Service, there's so many of them. All our security apparatus are all going to be members of this commission, which is very, very important, Mr. Speaker. Then, when you even look at the functions of the commission, Mr. Speaker, it is important to note, Mr. Speaker, that apart from establishing programs of action to prevent, combat, and eradicate the illicit trade in small arms and light weapons, Mr. Speaker, it involves the regular updating of the registry for small arms and light weapons. It is very, very important that there is a register that is regularly updated, Mr. Speaker, because it makes us know the number of arms and ammunition that have been mocked up, and it ensures that they do not go back into circulation again, which is usually the case. Mr. Speaker, as you know, our borders are very, very porous, and for as little as 50,000 naira or 100,000 naira, one can easily purchase an AK-47 in Nigeria. So, Mr. Speaker, this commission, I believe, is not going to be duplicating the work of the Nigerian police force. Because I think a colleague of ours mentioned the Firearms Act, where he mentioned the issuance of licenses and everything. The commission will not be saddled with the issuance of licenses. The commission will not be saddled with arresting people, which are all part of the work of the Nigerian police force. But, Mr. Speaker, I believe this bill is timely because, like I said, the biggest threat that we have to our existence, our unity, our peace, and economic progress is insecurity. And it all boils down to weapons. Without weapons, then I can assure you, Mr. Speaker, the issue of insecurity will be drastically reduced. Mr. Speaker, I urge this honorable House to please support this bill. It is a very, very important bill, and I want to use this opportunity to thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk. I thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Atwas.
Thank you, the right honorable Speaker, and my colleagues. I'm from Oyo State, the pace-setter state, and my name is Olajide Olatubosun. I represent Atisbo, Shaki East and Shaki West Federal Constituency. I would like to start by commending Honorable Mongunu for bringing this bill to the floor. It is expedient that we do something urgently on the issue of arms and how it helps to aggravate insecurity in our country. Since the early 80s, starting with the Liberian Civil War, the Civil War in Sierra Leone, and the latest conflicts around Africa, in Mali, in Congo, in Sudan, and also in Libya, we've seen that arms have gone into wrong hands in large numbers. And to protect our citizens, this House of the Nigerian people must do something urgently to have a body whose sole responsibility will be to monitor how arms get into people's hands. But having said that, Mr. Speaker, you are a highly experienced person in this business of making laws. And in your inaugural speech, you told us that you are going to have a house of reform. In other words, your leadership will be transformational. It will be business as usual. At the last count, this country has more than 600 agencies, departments, and commissions. And every time we have an agency of government not doing what they should do, we are quick to establish another commission or agency or department. How long are we continuing to do that? The police, the army, the customs, all of them are responsible. If the police are not doing their work, if the army are not doing enough, and if the customs are allowing arms to flow into the country from illegal sources, what is this House doing about that? Is it every time we have a problem,
that will run to create another agency or department. My humble submission is that for this ninth assembly, let's look at the fundamental issues. And we need to provide solutions that will stand the test of time. Creating a commission is another bureaucracy. It's going to increase our cost. People have said that we should not look at cost when we are talking of lives. Absolutely, I agree with that. But the challenge is that this is a country that only 20% of our capital, of our budget goes into capital expenditure. Almost everything goes into debt servicing and recurrent expenditure. How are we going to build the future for our children? So, setting up another commission now, they are going to hire buildings, they are going to buy vehicles, they are going to pay salaries. At the end of the day, we come back to the same story. Mr. Speaker, please, I beg you, sir, in setting up this commission, we must ensure that we have provisions in the bill that we can hold them accountable so that in another 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years, another bill will not come to this house that we need to set up another commission, not for firearms again, but another level of arms. So, Mr. Speaker and honorable colleagues, I support this motion that this bill be read second time, but with a caveat that we should not continue to rush in creating commissions or agencies when we have a challenge with a particular agency of government not doing what they are supposed to do. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Kubo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, my respected colleagues. Mr. Speaker, this is a very good bill. And our colleagues here have contributed to such an extent that I can understand the body language of the House. But Mr. Speaker, I want to suggest, one, that we may need to amend the capture of the bill. If you are saying small arms, whereas the essence of this bill is targeted at protecting life and property. Just like my brother here is saying, there is no small snake in the bush. Small or large, bigger or whatever nomenclature you address with arms are arms, and they all kill. So I am of the opinion that we amend the bill to read the establishment of a commission against the proliferation of arms, illegal arms. Mr. Speaker, whether we are able to achieve establishment of this commission or not, one most important issue that we need to look at is we have signed as a nation so many treaties, including ECOWAS Treaty of Free Movement. Taking cognizance of the fact that our borders are so porous, unless we are able to man our borders very well and equally adhere to the contents of the treaties we signed, we might not be able to achieve curtailing the proliferation of arms in our country. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, I want to urge and appeal to our colleagues and this honorable House through you, Mr. Speaker, that the security agencies that are saddled with the responsibilities of money and protecting the sovereignty of our nation, once they are not funded, via our budgetary process, we might not necessarily get the result we are looking. Mr. Speaker, the Nigerian police we are talking about here, whereas we have a nation of about 200 million people, the strength of the Nigerian police is about 372,000. Over 25% of the Nigerian police today are money who are working with the VIPs, money our banks, and multinationals. Only about 25–30% of the force that is saddled with the responsibility of managing the civil internal security of the country, only about 30% of them are in the operational field. So we equally have to look very critically about the budgetary process of not only the Nigerian police, but all the security agencies to enable us man our country safely. Thank you for the privilege given to me by you, Mr. Speaker.
Prof.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I have listened very carefully to the presentations, and I must say they are very convincing, but I still have my doubts that the Commission is the solution to the problem. See, in every contradiction, oh, sorry, Valentine, Honorable Professor Julius Ihamire, former Federal Constituency, Edo State. Thank you for reminding me. Now, I was saying that in every contradiction, in every challenge, there is always a substructure and a superstructure. When you concentrate your responses on the superstructure, you meet the fundamental, the underground, the base that generates those contradictions. I think what we've been discussing since is essentially looking at this superstructure. Another federal commission. We're already complaining this federal government is so big. It's becoming inefficient in many places. Create another federal agency with bureaucrats. We've listed ministries that will be represented. They have been in the federal government at the level of the presidency. The heads of those agencies never attend those meetings. They send junior officers who don't even make a report back. That's if they show up at all. But for me, Mr. Speaker, I think from the contribution so far, I've heard things like police is overwhelmed, it's overstretched. Is the solution to that problem abandoning the police or strengthening it, talking about the training, talking about the equipment, talking about mode of deployment, discipline and motivation? If it is overwhelmed and overstretched, get more people in. We have talked about keeping a register of weapons. It's a very good one. But we've not talked about those who manufacture these light weapons. They're not manufacturing them in space. We know where they are. Are they registered? Do we have an inventory of what they produce, how they produce, and how they sell them? We talked about to protect the populace. How is this commission going to protect the populace, honorable members? If the police, the NCND, the civil defense, the SSS and others were complaining that they are not doing it, is there a commission sitting in Abuja here with a director general who can delegate his staff to any staff of the commission according to the bill? Is that the one that will not protect the populace? We thought there are about 5,000 weapons that were acquired by my colleague there, my brother there, from, I can't remember the state, about 3 states. You recovered 5,000 weapons, the police. It means that the police can do it. If they can recover 5,000 weapons from 3 or 4 states, why can't they do it across the country? 5,000 is not a small number. They talked about locally made weapons are dangerous. and the methods of recovery. For those of us from the Niger Delta, we know that mere appeal does not necessarily make people bring back the weapons. If we are paying them for returning, we can bring the ones that are damaged. Or if we have excess and we don't have enough boys to carry them, we can bring a few. But if people acquire weapons to protect themselves because of certain ideologically or politically motivated reasons, they will not surrender the weapons until you address those issues. If a man acquires a weapon to go and rob to feed, the solution to it is whether you set up a commission or not. It's to create a job for that person, create opportunities for the people, let them be employed. Somebody who has a job to go to, who is worried about the next day, will not be carrying a small gun at night looking for places to rob. But for me, I think there are areas we are not looking at, which I think we must consider before we begin to talk about the commission. The number one is to block our borders. These weapons that are not manufactured here come in from there. So we look at the customs, the immigration, and the police. If you've gone outside Nigeria's border before, you will know precisely what I'm talking about. And I think the solution to these problems, inefficiencies, or these three agencies I just mentioned, is not definitely in the commission. The second, that is to cater for those weapons coming in. But for weapons that are already inside, I still don't know. I've read part of the bill, how the commission is going to recover that has not been tried from Abuja. How is going to recover weapons from people in Uzeba, which is somewhere in the boundary of Edo State and Ondo State. It's not working. So you have to look at the agencies responsible for internal security, surveillance, and monitoring. How do they do their work better? Any person who has time to watch TV, you watch Border Patrol, you will see how those agencies, how their colleagues do the job. And these are human beings like us. They don't work on their heads. It's possible in Nigeria. And we talk about the waterways. From Aso Drive or wherever the commission is, what is it going to do in Escabo, Patani, Mumati, and the other areas that are more interior in the waterways? Let's be realistic about this issue. And we know what happens there. So, Mr. Speaker, recently a prominent Nigerian died in a hotel in South Africa. One of the measures that was quickly adopted was to get the CCTV camera. In many parts of this world, in Africa here, you go to Accra, you go to Rwanda, and other places, CCTV is still a very critical weapon, technology used to monitor crime. Recruitment into the security agencies like I mentioned, and training and monitoring and equipping them properly. We see policemen without weapons going to even monitor elections when people are because on a desperate hour. Enlightenment, we've not talked about that. We have national orientation agencies. I think if they are properly organized and motivated to work, they will do more work in terms of convincing people to submit or return their weapons. The educational system, Mr. Speaker. I am not sure that these issues of light weapons, I know at the university level, yes, there are courses. But at the primary, the basic education level, I think something else will also be done at that level on this issue. Traditional religious institutions. I know many are corrupt, are not doing the work the way they should do it, but the majority, still use their preachment to try to influence the attitude and disposition of people. And they do this without setting up any commission. Neighborhood watch. The mindset we used it didn't work as much as we wanted because it was not properly structured. But let us go back and see how what neighborhood watch means, how it is supposed to work. And finally, Mr. Speaker, what we are discussing draws attention to the issue of state police. It is people who know the village, who know the language, the idioms, the religion, the way people relate, who know where the bad boys gather at night in the bush, that can monitor them and round them up. You cannot bring somebody from far away. So we are talking about this issue of light weapons. Light weapons will remain until we have the courage to look at the issue of restructuring, devolution of power, and properly bringing in state police so that the people who live with the people, who know their homes, know the smart and know the market, even in their homes, know where they hide the weapons, when they need to retrieve them, they know where to go. Mr. Speaker, we can go ahead and create the commission, but as a political scientist, I can tell you it will not achieve it. It will just be another bureaucracy, another budgeting, buying vehicles and traveling around the world. But in terms of getting to the root of the problem and the substructure, not from Abuja here, we will not get at those problems. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Prof. I guess we're at the point of those who want to speak against, since you were speaking against. So I guess we're at that point. Honorable colleagues, I want to, there's no point raising your hand on this side because we've moved like this. And we're not going to move back. Now let me read the provisions of our rules. It's almost impossible to have everybody speak, or as many people that want to speak. It's almost impossible. We'll be here till late. There's so many other motions. If you go to the rules, because I've had a lot of complaints from members saying they want to speak, they want to speak, they want to speak. And I know everybody wants to speak. If you go to Order 9, Rule 3 of our rules, it says the Rules and Business Committee shall allocate time to all bills, motions, reports, and measures coming before the House. The time management is very important, and that's why it's embedded in our rules. If you look at sub 3, in the same page 31, it says the Speaker shall allocate 1/2 of such time that has been allocated by the bills and Rules and Business Committee. The Speaker shall allocate 1/2 of such time to be given to debate in favor of, and 1/2 to debate in opposition to the bill. It's almost going on to 2:30 now, and the way the tradition of the House over the years that we allocate just a short time for those and then for against, and in that short time it's impossible to have everybody speak. But there will always be opportunities every day on the floor. So just bear with us. I know everybody wants to speak, and now we're on the issue of those who are speaking, and that's why we go, and that's the tradition of the House. We go from one row to the other. We don't go like this and go like that and go like this. And it's not everybody on a row that will be called upon, because if we call everybody on that row, we will never get to the second row. So we are now, for those who are speaking against Honorable Kuye. Honorable Kabir, were you for or against? And Honorable Kabir and Honorable Edun, I know you sent, you were for. We'll give you an opportunity, the two of you, to speak once we're done with those who want to speak against, and then we'll close this debate and move on to other matters. Honorable Kuye.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to come back to the floor to address this most important bill. Mr. Speaker, my name still remains Ademori Kuye. I represent Shomolu Federal Constituency, the seat of the printing industry, the largest printing industry in Africa. And I'm from Lagos State. Mr. Speaker, there is no doubt about the nobility and the intent of this bill to create this commission. When I spoke the other time, I did not have the opportunity of seeing, I have not had that opportunity of seeing the bill at that time. But while arguments was going to and fro, I had the opportunity to look at the bill itself. And I saw that part of the things that I raised, the point of order that I raised, are so addressed in that bill. And therefore, what I just want to say in conclusion, sir, is that whereas we are trying to cut down the cost of governance, in looking at this bill, sir, we should look at the source of funding. for the commission, critically, because somebody was thinking loud and saying that are they going to take a percentage out of the Nigerian police fund? And I said the fund for the police is not even enough for them. So maybe we have to look somewhere else, you know, to fund this commission. Then number two is the fact that in view of the obvious likely contradiction that may create a constitutional quagmire, we need to refer this bill to committee so that we look at it legally, so that there is no contradiction to the provisions of the Constitution. And number three, there's the fact that when you look at the second to the last paragraph that talks of the powers of the Commission as to effective management of storage and security of national stock. It's like the Commission is being asked to operate an armory. And I'm sure we don't want to have a situation like we have the Degal Armory at Ogun State the other time. We don't want to have that kind of thing, you know, where an armory was created in the State House of Ogun State for close to 7 years. We don't have to have that kind of situation again, because that power exclusively belongs to the police. So we should look at this bill very well through a committee and ensure that it does not run contrary to the provisions of the Constitution. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Ogden, you are speaking against.
Mr. Speaker, for giving me a chance to speak on this bill. This bill on the surface looks like a fantastic bill, of course. I represent Amodofi Federal Constituency in Lagos State. Mr. Speaker, I'm a Lagosian. Now, I want to be very brief. We are being asked to establish a small arms commission. The question I ask, what about big arms commission? If we are worried about proliferation of small arms, what about major arms? And we want to set up another commission to look at major weapons. That is the first question. The second question is that there is police. The police have an arm to do this work. Why do we want to proliferate establishment of so many commissions? At the end of the day, there will be budgetary problem. You now look to allocate money to this commission. Do we have the money to do that? The third one is there sincerity in this country? Those who carry small arms, many of them, you see herdsmen carry small arms everywhere. Openly, people are seeing them. Nobody is challenging them. If you set up this body, is it going to make any difference? My impression is that it will not make any difference. Because if the police who are in charge right now see people carrying guns with their cattle everywhere, and some in the bush, kidnapping people, and nobody bothers, it's not as if they are hiding. And then we're not talking about this commission. Is this commission going to be able to cure that problem? I think the issue is more of sincerity. While I commend the mover of this bill, he's done a lot of work on it, I think that it will be one commission too many. Rather, let us see how we can put this job in a major sector in the police. For instance, we can say, let there be a DIG in charge of arms proliferation. In the past, the problem we had is that the police do not have a strong department to handle the issue of these small weapons. And because the police, that's what the police is doing, nobody is paying attention. But if we have a DIG, we make it that a DIG who is next to Inspector General of Police with enormous power and enormous position handle this issue. I can assure you, we will be able to have a section under him that will go around to ensure that small arms are not proliferated everywhere, because we know it's creating a problem. So while I commend the group of this motion, and all the efforts has put on it, I want to say that let there be an amendment that rather than a full commission and Inspector General of Police to establish
an office under the DIG, which will be a major office under the police force, whose duty is just to handle this, so that we don't have problem of funding. As well from it, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Anybody speaking against on this road? Honorable.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Honorable colleagues, my name is Comrade Chinedu Obidigwe, Honorable with us. Thank you. I represent good people of Anambra East and West Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, the bill at the moment is a nice one, it's a good bill, but I am totally not in terms with that bill. Owing to one thing or the other, I have to mention here. Mr. Speaker, most of the times we continue to overload the system. We have not funded police, SSS, the army, and other paramilitaries very well as a country. They are even lacking manpower. We are talking about a commission, establishing another commission within the security system. Whether you call it small arms, light weapon, or whatever name you call it. Mr. Speaker, one thing is sacrosanct here. It is all about security. And Nigerian police has the right, has the duty, is also duty bound to arrest, to prosecute anyone with arms in this country without the license to go on with arms. And at the same time, Mr. Speaker, most of the time we usually hear armed robbers were arrested. They were arrested with arms. And at the end of it, it ends up there. Nobody cares to investigate further. How do they come about with these arms? Where do they procure it? Who issued the license to those people that are selling the arms? Whereas we have not funded very well the existing agencies, we have not funded well all other paramilitaries. Our borders, the customs are not being funded very well. Why can't we look into the acts establishing all these agencies and also see how we can cushion their effectiveness to checkmate all these kind of scandalous proliferation of arms around Nigerian borders and even within the communities and the states. Mr. Speaker, creating or establishing a new commission amounts to overloading the system in terms of finance funding and other things that can make the commission work. Is that we are duty bound to ensure that the ones we have created, the agencies we have created, are working. The police lacks manpower. The police we are not given enough funds to investigate. Investigation requires funding. If you arrest armed robbers, you need to know where they procure their very arms, the arms they are using. AK-47 is everywhere today in Nigeria. Armed robbers, kidnappers make use of AK-47. Nobody bothers how they procure it. Is it this commission that can inquire, investigate more into it? This is bureaucracy. So, Mr. Speaker, I, Honorable Chinedu Obidigwe, is not a good friend of this bill, and I see us on it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody speaking against? We'll just take two people on this row. Yes, we'll take two people on this row, two people on this row, so that we can move on. Against, please. Honorable Bagos, go ahead.
Dachu Musa Bagos, representing Josao Justice Federal Constituency of Plateau State. Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, I've seen the bill as it is. My problem with this bill, like from the previous speakers, have we really sat down to look at the internal security issues we have? Most of the times, all the weapons that some of the security agencies usually get back from bandits, most of these weapons usually find its way back into the hands of armed robbers or kidnappers without proper check. And even if someone is killed at the point, the bullets are there, no any serious forensic analysis to check where these weapons came from. We have security agencies that we have not yet seriously utilized. We have not utilized all the forensic experts we have in this country to really work on this. Our borders are so porous. To me, having this commission again at the end of the day will just be another area of merchants, because it's going to be like setting up a commission that when they collect weapons through the back door, you still have civil servants that will sell these weapons back to the bandits. We are not yet right for something like this, because it will still increase the rate at which weapons get into the hands of bandits within the community. Mr. Speaker, sir, I commend the mover of this bill, but a lot of work needs to do in terms of our internal security, in terms of our forensic analysis of even the weapons we have and had. I wonder if the commission is going to create another military to go and confront the herdsmen that are carrying weapons within the various forests we have. So if not, I don't think we are right for this. The police and the other security agencies should be well equipped. We should look at our forensic experts to see how we can really stop the illegal weapons we have. We should look at our borders very, very well. But to me, having this commission is going to be another merchant commission for people to use, collect weapons and to sell out again. So I submit, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Hanga.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleague, my name is Honorable Otumba Adeomi. I represent the fabulously united people of Ikene, Shagamu, and Remo North. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I'm from Ogun State. Mr. Speaker, inasmuch as this bill is a fantastic bill, I want to state that as all politics is local, all intelligence is also local. This takes me to the problems we're having with kidnapping, because the only way kidnappers are able to stop people and abduct them is because they're facing them with firearms of some sort. They take them to a place that is owned by some people. It's on the geographical area map of this country. There are allegations against the security agencies and the agents of this country that when they take back arms, like my colleague said, they find their way back into the system. If we are to start another agency, as opposed to making sure that the local intelligence is upgraded, is put into place, is well equipped, I want to believe that if we take our local vigilante or neighborhood watch people and equip them, they know where all these people keep all the arms. They know when they bring the arms in. They know when they use the arms. And they know where they stay. The agents or the agencies that we are thinking of establishing would be, then we begin to talk about federal character. They will come from different parts of the country trying to get people to submit their arms, but they will not know how to go into the local and the nitty-gritty, the nitty areas of those states. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I want to believe that this bill needs to be amended to take into consideration working on local intelligence with the local people, local security agents, local neighborhood watch people, so that they can actually work on how to get the arms off the streets. I so submit, Mr. Speaker.
Very quickly, please, just a small quick announcement. The following honorable members are to meet in room 002 of the new House of Reps wing by 2:30. It's already 2:37. Honorable Garba Dati, Honorable Umar Abdullahi Kamba, Honorable Abdullahi Balarabe Salame, Honorable Yusuf Gagdi, Honorable Nasir Sani Zangodara, Honorable Adamu Daladogo, Honorable Shinku, Mai Shinku, Honorable Tajuddin Adefiswe, Honorable Ashur Mani, Honorable Salisu Insansi, Honorable Sani Maruf, and if the is a Sergeant announced Yao Hassan here, if he's here, he should also report to room 230. Thank you.
Honorable Speaker, I want to thank you especially for the opportunity. And also the Chief Whip who has drafted this bill. We want to thank you for the effort. There is no expense that is too much to combat the security challenges the country is going through today. The Reverend Francis Ejirogene.
Are you speaking for? Okay. This is the way you started. Okay.
Reverend Francis Ejirogene Waive, I represent the entire people of Uwele North, Uwele South, and Udu Federal Constituency. I am from Delta State, Amorogo. I believe that the problems we are facing today in this country, security-wise, can only be solved with community policing. Every community knows where pinches it. We know where the things are in every community. Until we get to the point, like it's done in civilized crimes, outside this place, we are also a civilized people. We've tried a number of systems to see how we can overcome the security challenges we have. I believe that community policing is the solution. If you create a commission, you'll have the top big and somebody sitting in Abuja, whereas the problems are in the local communities. Those are where the arms are kept, and they are used for various purposes. Community settlements and troubles, individual disputes, kidnapping, all these at the community level. I'm of the opinion that our police force should be decentralized. Instead of the Nigerian police as one body, we'd rather go for, like you have the New York Police Department, the Los Angeles Police Department. We can have the same here in this country to solve the problems at the local level. That, I believe, is the best way to go, rather than having a national commission that will not be able to look at the nitty-gritty and the nooks and crannies of the country to be able to solve the except, of course, the commission is going to be grassroots based, and I wonder how that will happen, and be able to trace the problems to the various communities in this country. Mr. Speaker, I so submit.
Mr. Speaker,
honorable colleagues. Well, I want to believe the objective of this bill. Honorable Bayo Balogun, representing the Federal Constituency in Lagos State. Yeah, I want to believe the objective of this bill is no doubt a good one. To eradicate the proliferation of arms within the country. But we ask ourselves, which agency is presently in charge of that objective? Which is the police. And the police is also the agency in charge of giving licenses to people and organizations that are supposed to carry arms. But what are the challenges facing this police? We know it's funding, we know it's manpower, and the ability to even punish offenders for political and so many reasons. Intelligence gathering too is one of the major problems the police is facing in general security problem that we have today. And we know there is a major problem too of synergy. Mr. Speaker, every organization wants to be on their own. We know it's very difficult to share the information between our sister organizations. I'm bringing in a new one, we even wasn't the case. The two major organizations that I believe are seriously concerned with the problem at hand are the police and the custom. The police to take care of the internal guns within the area, in the country, and the custom to check other ones from coming in. The police does not have the capacity. The custom too does not have the capacity. We have so many unmanned areas within our country. So many areas without borders within the country. So we should be talking about how to empower all these agencies. The police today is about 31,000 men, which is to 200 million people, means it's about 1 to 600 people. And the recommendation of the union is 1 to 400 people. And if we see have, and the current IG recently said that the Nigerian police will need to employ 30,000 men for the next 5 years to be able to combat the security problem we have in the country, which also has to do with proliferation of arms. Because in the intelligence gathering, if we remove the agency and the proliferation of arms from the police, and we know that there is no way you will be able to handle this matter without intelligence report. And the police who are supposed to handle this, if removed from this agency, will create another serious problem, because the synergy between them will actually affect their productivity. So I will appeal to every one of us to see this as a means of putting round peg in round hole, to ensure that we fund the police, we create an agency, like someone suggested to, within the police system, to be in charge of the proliferation, because it's a phase in our security challenge. It's a phase, because we create agencies for every phase in our life. Most of these agencies will become irrelevant in a very short time. But if these agencies, if the proliferation of arms is put as a department under the police, by the time we get out of this phase, the police will continue to be the police. So please, I want us to just amend this bill or make an amendment that will say, because the objective is proliferation of arms, is to remove the proliferation of arms. So the bill should be an agency to be created within the police with a DIG, also to head it, to look at this problem so that we will not create another agency at the end of the day. So I shall submit.
Okay, we'll take any two against in this row. Honorable, go ahead, please. Honorable Dedere.
Yes. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, let me thank you especially, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. I'm Haruna Dedere, representing Kara Irogo Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Kano State. I rise in opposition to the bill sponsored by Honorable Mumbuno. Let me start by saying, Mr. Speaker, that I am grateful to the Honorable Professor there who has spoken the totality of my mind. He has poured out all that my mind contains in respect of this matter. I think, Mr. Speaker, it is not lack of institutions that worries this country. We have enough institutions to cater for our problems. This particular problem that is addressed is meant to be addressed by this bill. There are sufficient institutions that can take care of it. What is the problem is that the institutions are not effectively, they are not efficiently working. So our duty, Mr. Speaker, is to strengthen the institutions to ensure that they function on the broadest possible basis. And Mr. Speaker, on your shoulders lies the responsibility of directing the affairs of this nation. You have wide and sweeping constitutional powers to intervene when any segment of this system is not working well. I feel what we should do, Mr. Speaker, is to look at the problems we have with our existing institutions and to make them work so as to serve the purposes for which this bill is intended to establish. The police is there, as several speakers have mentioned, the armed forces, the paramilitary outfits, they are all there and they are supposed to take care of this problem. Now, if we establish a new commission, Mr. Speaker, see what will happen. They will draw their staff strength, their manpower from the police. So what are we intending to achieve? Yes, the EFCC was established. Yes, it has been working. But larger percentage of the manpower, of the staff strength of the EFCC is drawn from the Nigerian police. So what are we saying? We are simply duplicating. And it is not encouraging. So I feel what we should do is to allow for the working of our institutions so as to serve in the curbing of the proliferation of light weapons and small arms instead of thinking of establishing a new commission. That is my submission, sir. Thank you for the opportunity.
One more, go ahead, yes, Honorable, yes, go ahead.
Mr. Speaker, I am Honorable Ibrahim Funle Olarewaju. I represent the entire people of Ido-Osi, Moba, Ileje-Meje Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Ekiti State. Mr. Speaker, I have patiently listened to the mover of this bill, the argument in support, and the argument against. Mr. Speaker, what really came to my mind is that I have not seen whether from the brief submission of the bill and the argument in support, the lacuna in our existing law to require the present law. Mr. Speaker, it is not the law that makes society. the law can only back. The biting power is in us. We continue to complain about the shortage of manpower of the police. Better part of the police men and women are today serving EFCC. We demand that they should be strengthened. Now another commission is to be established. A quarter part of the police will be second to them again. And we continue to cry, shortage of manpower. Mr. Speaker, let us for once cultivate the habit of strengthening our institutions. It is not this law that makes us. It is how best we use the law. There are several of our laws that end up in our shelves. There are several of these commissions that end up the day we establish them through our laws. We should not tread where the angels tread. These commissions, if care is not taken, they will begin to become our albatross. When you look at the workings of organs of police organizations in other countries, you be amazed to say you have a police in our own country. And it is because we refuse constantly by our acts and omissions or commissions to strengthen them. We deliberately destroy the police force by our activities. Mr. Speaker, from the information available, police have been doing this job before. The only problem is finance and manpower. So, why do we need a whole lot of commission, whether we have additional funding or not? The truth about the matter, Mr. Speaker, is that the police have the experience, they have the manpower, they have the intelligence on ground. All we need to do is strengthen this force and we'll get better results. Eventually, from this bill, I try to look at the composition. I can't possibly find one with what I was given. Maybe from the composition of who are supposed to be members of this commission, it will be more clear to us that we don't need this duplication. Mr. Speaker, the culture of maintaining our structures, whether physical or human, should be inculcated into us. We always rush to build new houses. We rush to build new structures, destroy the existing one. I care to look at the House of Lords and Commons. These are the houses they've been using for years. They continue to maintain this structure, and it's always a beauty to behold. The organizational structure of UK and American police, they continue to maintain them. They strengthen them, have different departments and units. Let's cultivate idea of good things from these people. Let's borrow new leaves rather than establishing commissions that will eventually deplete the one we have on ground. Mr. Speaker, this is my submission.
Right to reply, sir.
Honorable Mangono, right of reply.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, my name is Mohamed Tahir Mongono. I represent Marche Mongono Ganzai, Federal Constituency of Borno State. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I am craving for your indulgence to yield my right of reply to Honorable Nicholas Osai, who has equally a lot of passion for the passage of the second reading of this bill, subject to your indulgence, sir. I am yielding my right of reply to Honorable Nicholas Osai to reply, to give the right of reply, because of the passion he has for the bill.
Honorable Osai, this is very impressive when somebody from the chief whip from the majority is yielding his right of reply to an opposition temporary leader. Go ahead, Honorable Sahib.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It shows a lot of collaborative effort of the Ignite Assembly. You know, the way we collaborate, we build consensus for the interests of our nation. Yeah, my right of reply starts from the submission of the last speaker, who probably needed more information about the composition. One of these issues was, before Nigeria signed the international treaty and the ECOWAS protocols on this matter, there was this case study that was taken from Germany to really look at the collaborative efforts of all the security agencies that happens and also leads to a very good effort that is happening in Germany today. Now, the composition of this commission is as follows. The Minister of Foreign Affairs who will chair this commission. Now, why the Minister of Foreign Affairs? The Minister of Foreign Affairs, because it involves protocols along regional basis. He has the means and authority of the federal government to represent the federal government on issues of external affairs. Because of that, he will coordinate with other agencies in West Africa and other African nations in terms of coordinating or mopping up these small arms and light weapons, which is already in the protocol. Now, the Minister of Internal Affairs, that is in charge of police completely, is also in this commission. The Minister of Defense is also in this commission. So you have now seen this commission as a collaborative effort, using all security means, including the DSS, are also in this commission. While bringing the human rights group. Human rights group is supposed to be there so that any of our citizens within Nigeria will not be molested or wrongly, accused of having one thing or the other. That's the essence of the Human Rights Commission. Human Rights Commission to be. So we now discover that the police has raised, or our colleagues there, and all issues have been addressed. And this collaborative effort will involve a lot of information gathering. Just as the honorable member from Ughelli South, who represent Ughelli, that talk about community policing, submitted. That will completely take care of it, because through the most of our agencies in the security network, like DSS, like police, we gather this information from the grassroots and give to the commission and start to deal with it. I think this is a welcome commission. I don't think we're trying to complicate issues by establishing this commission. Let's look at it and let it work. Nigeria is a very big country, and you need a lot of collaborative effort to deal with this issue. Now, above all, internally, the thing have already started administratively, and they need a legal backing through this process. It is this legal backing that will not give them a lot of power to operate globally. If not, from the presidency, I don't want to mention one department or other that is already in coordination of this issue. But putting this bill will legalize these commissions and operations we kick off. And I believe that, I urge you, it is good that you have raised a lot of concern. But most of these concerns will be addressed in the committee level. This is what I feel, because that is where the technicality and the nitty-gritty is going to be done. Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues, I think Nigeria is going in the right direction through the office of Mr. President. And Mr. President is doing a lot. That is why we call him Mr. Integrity. On this ground, Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues, I make my submission. Thank you.
Thank you, honorable colleagues. Honorable colleagues, ordinarily, as an impartial arbiter, I'm not supposed to be contributing in any way to this debate. But I think I would just want to clarify one or two things. In listening to the debate, well, first of all, let us remind ourselves that this bill was brought by our very respected Chief Whip of the House. But in listening to the debate, I heard a lot of those who spoke against talking about amending the bill, and working on the bill. Well, this is done at the committee level, not on the floor of the House. And what we're debating here, again by our rules, is the general principles of the bill, not the details. The details can be worked on at the committee level. Let me say, first of all, yes, multiplicity of bills is not always the best. But when the multiplicity or the duplicity of a bill leads to or has the potential of leading to efficiency, then it is always welcome. A case in point, like everybody has referred to, is the EFCC. If the argument had been that because the police was already saddled with the responsibility of financial crimes and the rest of them, that we should strengthen the police, and we will not have EFCC or ICPC today. We know what that means, and we know so far they're doing a good job. So multiplicity of agencies or laws sometimes, maybe even inadvertently strengthens whatever it is you're trying to cure. And in this case, it will even strengthen the police, because if you are shedding the weight of the police, if you're shedding the responsibility of the police, then it gives them a lot more capacity to do whatever is left. These are my thoughts. And when somebody, I think it was Honorable Dedere, who said, you will be employing, the manpower will be coming from the police. And if you're employing from the police, I can turn that around and say, if you're employing from the police, then you're opening up more room for employment for the police, which we need in this country. We're looking for employment for our young men and women. So when you draw from the police, you create room for more employment. I honestly believe we should look at international best practices at the committee level. Is this what obtains in other places? Do they have such organizations and agencies in other countries? And is it working there? I think these are the things we need to inform ourselves with. And there's also something I'm sure Honorable Dedere, you might know about this, when it comes to drafting of statutes and laws. There's something called the sunset clause. The sunset clause is a clause that goes into the law that after a period of time, maybe a year, maybe 2 years, maybe 6 months, you're taking care of a specific issue. So the sunset on that law after maybe a year or however long you want to put it, when you've taken care of the problem and it elapses. So it may not be a permanent law, maybe a law just for that moment to take care of small arms and ammunition, which is we cannot deny the fact that it's a problem. It is a problem. We had the experience here just 2 days ago. So just my own little tidbit. I'm not trying to sway anybody one way or the other. So we'll put the question. Those in favor of the bill, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. The ayes have it. Yes, the clerk is invited to read the long title of the bill.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, bill for now to provide for establishment of the National Commission against the proliferation of small arms and light weapons to collect and implement activities to combat the problem of the proliferation of small arms and light weapons in Nigeria in line with the Economic Committee of West African States Convention on Small Arms and Light Weapons and related matters. Second reading.
Bill referred to Committee on National Security and Intelligence when constituted. The second order of the day is a motion in commemoration of the World Population Day on need to address growing concerns confronting the women population in Nigeria, standing in the name of Honorable Nkiruka Oyejocha. Honorable Oyejocha is invited to move the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am Nkiruka Oyejocha. I represent the people of Sukwatu in the federal constituency. I am from Abia State. I move a motion on commemoration of World Population Day. We need to address the growing concerns confronting the women population in Nigeria. The House notes that since 1989, 11th July has been declared annually to commemorate the World Population Day. Also note that the World Population Day focuses attention on population issues like family planning, gender equality, poverty, maternal health, infant mortality, human rights, immigration and education of women. Recalls that the 1994 International Conference on Population and Development identified reproductive health and gender equality as key issues for attaining sustainable development. The House is also aware that this year's World Population Day called for global attention on the unfinished businesses of the 1994 International Conference. The House is concerned that 25 years after this landmark conference, which was well attended by over 20,000 delegates from about 179 nations, United Nations agencies, non-governmental agencies, and the media, Nigeria still lags behind in issues affecting women like economic exclusion, high maternal and infant mortality rates, gender inequality, and recently the plight of women in internal displaced persons, IDP camps. The House is also concerned that with the rise in insurgency, sectarian crisis and killings in recent years in Nigeria, the plight of women has worsened, with more widows and orphaned children, especially the girl child. The House observes the need for Nigeria to urgently carry out another population census in order to distill the demographics and living conditions of women in Nigeria. The House is cognizant of the need for due attention to issues of gender inequality, economic exclusion of women, high maternal mortality, gender discrimination and abuse of women in internally displaced persons camps, as the nation commemorates the 2019 World Population Day. The House resolves to urge the federal government to develop short, medium, and long-term action plans to address the increasing challenges faced by women in Nigeria, like gender inequality, high maternal mortality, economic exclusion, gender discrimination, abuse and displacement, and forward sent to the National Assembly for legislative actions. Further urge the National Population Commission to prepare an action plan for a population census in Nigeria and forward send to the National Assembly for legislative action, and mandate the Committee on Population, when constituted, to ensure compliance. I so move.
Any seconder, please. Okay, Honorable Ben. Abia.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, my name is Honorable Benjamin Bem Zondu. I represent all the people of Makudi, Guma. I'm from Benue State, the food basket of the nation, and I also represent the unemployed youth of this nation. I rise to second the motion raised by my distinguished ranking colleague, as I so second.
Honorable Editor, do you mind if we just do a quick, lead the debate?
Mr. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, thank you so much. Today is July 11th, and since 1989, the then Governing Council of the United Nations Development Program, UNDP, set aside 11th July of every year to commemorate the World Population Day. Mr. Speaker, the focus of World Population Day generally is on population issues like poverty, maternal health, infant mortality, reproductive rights, human rights, gender equality, immigration and education of women. This year's commemoration calls for global attention on the unfinished businesses of the 1994 International Conference. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, maternal and infant mortality indicators reflect that Nigeria needs to improve on these areas. Of all these issues in Nigeria, the most affected groups are women and children. As we speak, there is no accurate and verifiable figure of Nigerians' precise population. We either rely on wide estimates or estimates from external sources. The last population census carried out in Nigeria was in 2006, and another census is due by all standards. There can be no proper planning without accurate demographic information. There is an urgent need for the National Population Commission to work out an action plan for a population census in Nigeria and submit same to this parliament. There is also a need for the National Population Commission to create an effective way of consistently updating demographic data by updating births, deaths, and immigration status. In this way, it will help us in better national planning. So, honorable colleagues, these issues are very simple. This is time for us to look at indices so that we begin to call on National Population Commission to do what they need to do, because the time is now. And I seek for support of honorable colleagues to help us consider this motion for better use of our planning and policies. It will help us in a very better way to do this. I so submit.
Honorable colleagues, I think this is pretty straightforward in celebrating Women's Day. I think we should also celebrate women's support. Women, Honorable Oyedetra has made the point abundantly clear, and I think we should just carry all her prayers. It's unanimous. Anybody that speaks now will just be redundant. They all agree with it. Is anybody here to speak? Let's make it robust. Is anybody here to speak against women? Anybody want to speak against women? Those who support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable colleagues, the day is fast spent. There are other issues that are pending, and we must. There are about 2-3 motions left on the other paper, but the sponsors are not. They're not here, except Honorable Odebumi, who has graciously agreed yet again to step down his motion so that we can quickly carry on with other state matters. Honorable Apata Sin, please, can you move for adjournment? Hold on. I have a couple of announcements. First of all, this is a communication from Mr. President. I write to inform the Right Honorable Speaker of the House of Representatives that President Muhammad Buhari will host to dinner leadership of the National Assembly of the Federal Republic of Nigeria on Thursday, which is today, 11th July 2019, at 8 p.m. The venue is at the residence of Mr. President at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. You are kindly requested to come along with the leadership of the House of Representatives. Please accept, Right Honorable Speaker, the assurances of the President's consideration and best wishes. Honorable colleagues, this is to inform all members of the Ad hoc Committee on Ethics and Privileges that the committee has scheduled a meeting as follows. Thursday, which is today, 11th July 2019, 4 p.m. at suite number 430, the new building, House of Representatives, National Assembly, signed by the Chairman, Peter Patterson. The forms that were given to members to fill, many members have not returned them. Please have them returned to the clerk's office by today, tomorrow. Very, very important. Very, very important. Thank you. Robert Patterson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, my great colleagues. I am Comrade Peter Oviozojea Patterson, MNI. I move that this House adjourn to Tuesday, 16th of July 2019 by 11 o'clock. I so move.
The seconder. Honorable Osai.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues. I remain Honorable Osai Nicholas Osai. I represent the Bopani Federal Constituency of Delta State. I rise to second the motion as moved by my great comrade, who is the Deputy Majority Leader of this great House. I so say.
Those in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Okay, Honorable Odebome, you can wait behind. The ayes have it. I heard you.